guess my ultimate message would be, you don't have to have Torah to be in relationship with Yeshua, but you do have to have Torah to complete the relationship and to not live a cursed life.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries. Here we are with Cheryl Brennan.
Right.
Cheryl, say hello to the Torah Life audience.
Hello, Torah Life audience.
Cheryl, you're new to the Torah Life, is that correct?
Since 2010, yes.
Well, how was your life before that? Were you a believer at all?
Yes, actually I had been a believer since I was 16 years old, and I had actually lived in a Christian commune back in the 70s when the Jesus movement, the Jesus People movement was going on, and this was kind of the precursor for the next 40 years that led up to Yom Kippur of 2010. Yom Kippur of 2010, I was all alone, by myself on our farm in Alabama. I happened to be alone at the house that day, listening to a rabbi on YouTube, Laser Brody to be specific, and I suddenly realized that I never had really been adequately sorry. I never had really looked at myself the way that I was seeing myself that day, and I was given a gift of teshuvah that day that changed my life.
That's wonderful. So how did your friends and the other people in the community that we were living there accept you?
My husband, of course, was very angry about it. He is since deceased. My family was surprised and shocked. Meanwhile, back at the ranch up in Kansas City, the rest of my family had actually met up with a Messianic congregation out in Peculiar, Missouri, and had embarked upon this life really kind of unbeknownst to me. And so you can see that the Father was kind of working in the background to bring us all to where we are today.
What's the first thing that you did personally when you discovered Torah?
Well, the first thing that I decided to do was to start keeping the Shabbat and to learn the traditions that surrounded the Shabbat so that I could kind of set myself up to begin to keep it correctly. It's kind of a process. It's not something that you're going to do overnight, but I basically committed myself to keeping the Shabbat. That's the first thing that I did.
And since you've been doing this now, you're doing a lot more. How has Torah blessed you?
Torah has blessed me in more ways than you have time to say on this video, but I will say this. A lot of people think that, well, you don't need Torah to have fellowship with the Father or to be quote-unquote saved, although I always ask people the question, well, what is it that you're saved from? Because that'll tell you everything about who they are and what they're doing and what their relationship to the Father is. But in my own life, I went from living a cursed life where it seemed like nothing was ever quite complete, nothing ever really felt good. You always kind of felt like you were on the edge of some disaster. And so Torah in my life has led me from living a cursed life to living a blessed life that I can count on. And I don't have that anxiety anymore. I don't worry about anything.
And you had been a Christian for how long before this?
40 years.
And you're saying for 40 years as a Christian, you felt incomplete?
Yes, that's exactly the word, incomplete. As if I didn't have the whole story. And you even feel that way when you're sitting there in the pews, and it's Sunday morning, you kind of get a little bit of a Sunday rush. You go, yes, I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to really get my act together. I'm going to fellowship with the Father like I never have before. And by Tuesday, you're frustrated at work, you're frustrated in your family relationships, whatever has gone on that is the regular curse in your life, or even the generational curse that's come on your life, is going on again, and you've lost it. And kind of thinking, well, maybe I'll go back on Sunday and get another rush, but no, eventually you get to where you go, never mind, I'm just not even going anymore. And so then you're told the story, well, it doesn't matter what day you worship on, or if you go to the church, or if you actually are saying prayers. When you're in your car, just kind of speak to him, tell him that he's there and that he understands your heart, and that'll be good enough, because all your sins have been covered by Jesus, and you have nothing to worry about anyway, so just kind of muddle through. It's going to be miserable, but you'll get there someday.
And how did your church that you were going to, did you go back and tell them you're no longer going to attend, or did you just stop going?
I just stopped going.
Did they inquire about you, or
no.
try to contact you?
Which says a lot. No, nobody really notices if you don't go.
What would be your advice to Christians that are watching this right now that really don't know about Torah, or just that their Christianity is not what the Bible is teaching?
Well, I would say that it takes a lot of courage to step back and challenge everything that you've ever been taught in your life, put everything aside, and look again and see if you have truth. And the way that you'll have truth is to ask the Father for it, and He will definitely give it to you. And you will find that it comes to you in the form of a Torah life. And so I guess my ultimate message would be, you don't have to have Torah to be in relationship with Yeshua, but you do have to have Torah to complete the relationship and to not live a cursed life. So my message would be, come out and get free.
And has anyone called you legalistic for being obedient to the scriptures?
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because all the things that people accuse you of being bound up by, and I wouldn't want to live a life where I was under the law. Well, you know, every Friday that rolls around as we approach Shabbat and my family's gathered around and I see my grandchildren and my children there, and I see that this is spread across our whole lives, changed everything that we ever believed and everything that we thought was true. I have such a huge sense of gratitude that if this is being legalistic, call it whatever you want to, put whatever label you want to on it. You're mistaken. This is called being happy.
Wonderful. Do you have a way people can get in touch with you if they want, a Facebook page or a blog or anything?
We don't have one. I don't have a personal web page. I am on Facebook under my maiden name, which is Cheryl Rowe, R-O-W-E. Glad to talk with anybody, midrash with fellow believers. I am a serious student of Torah, and I'm glad to hear from anybody.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways, Torah Life Ministries, come out of the world.